had, my name is Helen. I'm a Kenyan, and today I'm excited to talk about Mastercard Foundation Scholarships. As you've heard, I've had the privilege of receiving that twice for my studies, undergrad studies, and my current master's studies. So for interest of time, I'm proposing that if you have any questions along the way, you can just put them on the chat box. And then when we are done, when we get to the last slide, we will have a Q&A session. So allow me to quickly go through the slides, and then we have questions at the end. Okay. So the small presentation I've prepared for today is just to let you know who I am, share with you my journey to ASU, some of the insights and strategies when it comes to applying for opportunities abroad, specifically study abroad and specifically for scholarships. And then we're going to have an exciting Q&A session at the end. Okay. So who is your speaker today? As I said, my name is Helen Wairimo, born and raised in Kenya. I am very proud to say I'm a certified information systems auditor. I am an assistant manager at PwC Kenya. I work in the risk and assurance line of service. I hold a degree in electrical and electronic engineering from Ashesi University in Ghana. And right now, I'm a graduate student doing my master's at Arizona State University in the U.S. And most importantly, I am a Christian. So along the conversation of today, you might hear me throw some, encouragement from scripture and from God. That's where I draw my inspiration and motivation from. Okay, my journey to ASU and how did I get here? So what you're seeing here is just, I'm going to share with you a small story, which is a sign of just a step of faith. It's a risk that I took. So, and hopefully that this journey can inspire someone else or somebody out there can relate to it. So as I said, I've been a recipient of scholarship. Actually, I've been on scholarship since primary school. Went to high school again, got another scholarship with Akili Dada. And then I went to Ghana with Mastercard, and now I'm at Arizona State University still with Mastercard. When working in PwC, I strongly knew that I wanted to have to study a master's degree, and I wanted to do it early before, life gets complicated with family and all, work and stuff. But I think, which is something we're going to talk about in slides below, I started, feeling less deserving, looking at my experience and feeling like it would not qualify. Also hearing lots of stories of how so many people are now applying and feeling like it's going to be very competitive. And I remember speaking to Steve before he left us in PwC, telling him, I also want to go to school, but I don't know where to begin. I don't think I have any chance. And he kept telling me, oh, just apply. You never know. Don't always assume that there's somebody better than you out there, just apply. And I think in October, it's when I saw a friend of mine sent me a link and told me, hey, Helen, you always talk about, doing your master's in technology. Here, there is an opportunity by Mastercard at ASU. You should try. Key lesson there. Share with your friends what your ambition is, because that's going to be that network is very important, because from your friends, those who know your ambition, one, they will be your encouragement. Two, they will be your accountability partner. I think every time I met with Steve across the office, he always remind me, umeapply, umefika wapi, uliamuaje? And sometimes I have to be like, this pressure, I wish I didn't tell him. But it's a good thing because it got me where I am today. And number 3 is your friends will send you opportunities. They will come across things that they know, this is really good for my friend Joseph, let me send it to him. So it's good to share what your ambition is with your friends. So I saw the opportunity 3 weeks to the deadline. I was going to LD for work for 1 week. So literally I had 2 weeks to apply. But I think I did what I'll share with you, which is to just start the drafts and carry on. And by November, I already got, excuse me, an invite here, huku ni asubuhi bana. Sorry, I got an invite for an interview, which I did in early December. And the good thing with Mastercard Scholarship is you always start with a scholarship first, and then you go to school, which is an advantage because I don't think a school will say no to you, yet they see a scholarship has already picked you. So that's the advantage of MCF. I think it's one of the greatest scholarships in the world to me. And by February, I had already received a school offer, and 2 hours later, I got a scholarship offer and started my visa process. In Kenya, I think especially if you have a prestigious scholarship, you are going to a prestigious school or a good school, you're very clear about your goal, it's hard for you to be denied a visa. And also with God's grace as well, if you pray a lot about it, it's hard for you to be denied a visa. So I got a visa in March, and I just sat there and waited because I was to travel to school end of July. So I just kept quiet and waited until July and spoke to my boss to give me a sabbatical leave to go and study. That's also another good point. If you're currently working, you don't have to resign. We all know how things keep changing in the world. Today, you wake up, this and this country are fighting, and they have now new travel bans and so forth. Don't burn bridges. Just take a sabbatical leave if you can. Leave that job where it is and go study. You never know, you might want to come back to the same position. So it's always good to have a plan B and a plan C. Yes, and I landed to school. This picture here is the fancy apartment that I am living, apartment complex that is fully catered for. And I think I took this picture because this is where my classroom is. Yeah, and that's it about the journey. I'll take questions at the end. The most important bit of today's presentation is this one, the section on insights and strategies. So I've just gathered some key points that I know have helped me, have helped other friends, and I'll be sharing using examples with friends out there, and I hope they can be helpful. Let me shed some light on what MCF scholarship is about. First of all, MCF has partnered with specific schools, some schools for undergrad studies and some schools for master's program. And there are so many. I don't know why sometimes you find people who only know 2 schools, but yet there's a very long list of schools that have partnered with Mastercard Foundation. So the list I have here only focuses on master's program. You can see the likes of Cambridge, Edinburgh, Oxford, other schools in the US, Canada, France, South Africa. To me, South Africa, same level of a first world country. So you should really shoot your shot for those ones as well. Carnegie Mellon University in Rwanda, doing very well. It has an American style, a prestigious school, does their studies very well. I think all those schools going upward up to Carnegie Mellon, I know great people who have gone there and they're doing fantastic in their lives. So those are places that I would definitely recommend you to have a look at. The list goes longer and longer. I just didn't want to put schools here that I don't know anyone, so I can't really recommend because I don't know about it. The strategy with Mastercard MCF scholarship is you go to that school, look at the programs that Mastercard pays for. Because, for example, Cambridge, yes, they partner with MCF, but MCF will not pay for all the programs. There are specific ones they're interested in. So you go through all of these schools, look at the programs that Mastercard pays for, and then if you find something that is speaking to your future aspirations, your future career goals, and so forth, then you keep that as in your list, or if you're shopping online, we normally put it in your cart. So now you put that in your list and start working towards attaining that opportunity. What does the scholarship cover? I love MCF because they cover almost everything. They will pay for your application fees, tuition, they pay for your flights to and from school, housing, health insurance. Most places they will pay you a stipend to be able to afford food and stuff. Here in ASU, the strategy is a bit different. They, for most students, they will partner with the school to give you a job, an on-campus job. So instead of a stipend, you're getting a small salary, which is usually between 18 to 25 or $28 per hour, which is also good. And of course, depending on the school, they will cater for any additional academic related items or expenses like books. If you're going for conferences in and outside the country that relate to your program, they will pay for you. And what is MCF mainly interested in? It's very good to understand the goal, the vision and mission of a foundation before you apply for the scholarship. If you know what their mission is and their vision is, you're able to craft your story to fit in or to, you're selling or to you're selling yourself to them. So it's good to use terms that they know. So their interests are very clear. They're interested in Africa, they're interested in young people, they're interested in technology, entrepreneurship, and innovation. So then, regardless of which course you're doing, whether it's in clean energy or whatever, when you write your story, you make sure that, it's fitting or matching with their ambitions and their mission for Africa. I also need to mention that sometimes these essays are read by AI. Like me, when I was applying, there were I think they said 6,500 and something applications. So I don't think they really sat down and read all the 6,500 and something applications. So I think they probably might have used AI, and what AI does is looking for some terminology, some specific terms, matching your story with their ambitions, their core values. And if they're too much, then you put at the top of the list. So it's good to understand what is the mission of Mastercard Foundation, what are they interested in, and make sure that as you tell your story, you relate to their goals. So in general, they are looking for young Africans 18 years to 35 years. It's good to look at the age cap. So that if you keep saying I'll apply next year, wacha kwanza nipate work experience, my friend, you might wake up and find that you're too old for the opportunity. And it's not just this one. Most of the 100% opportunities look for youth. They are for young men and women. And young men and women is from 35, maybe all the way up to 40. So any opportunities that are available for guys older than 40, you realize they are only covering tuition or 1 year only or a couple of months peke yake. But the ones that are holistic, covering your travel, tuition, healthcare, those ones are mainly for young people because they know you have not worked enough, you don't have much money or investment. So apply early. They, of course, look at academic excellence. Nobody wants to waste their money to someone who will sit in class and not understand the concept. Their passion for Africa, you have to have intent to come home. And there, we usually say you've got to be smart about it. Of course, most people have zero intentions of coming home. But the way you express yourself in the interview, in the essays, the challenges you're talking about, make sure you're showing interest in Africa, you're showing interest of coming back to solve a particular thing or issue in Africa. And of course, demonstration of leadership qualities. This is like showing that you're not just someone who sits back and waits for solution or things to get done. You're very proactive. You're very interested in being part of the solution. And it doesn't care at what capacity, even if it is something small that you did that shows that, you didn't just sit back because there is a problem. And you didn't just complain inadequate resources. You did something, you found an alternative, you innovated something and got a result. That's what they are looking for. They are also very interested in technology and innovation these days. In fact, right now they have openings to ASU that are purely focusing on technology and innovation. Entrepreneurship, great. This is a great selling point when it comes to MCF. Somebody who has done like a business before, whether it failed or not, or somebody who shows that in the future they will be interested in entrepreneurship, because what they want is someone who can create jobs for others, or someone who can create a job at least for themselves. In case you come back home and the economics are bad, the politics are bad, and there is no job, are you just going to sit there and waste the investment, or are you someone who can, invent something, start like a business and cater for yourself? And basically being proactive in solving issues around you. Okay, let us look at some of the myths that people have about study abroad and scholarship applications. One is people think they need to have perfect grades. And that's not true, and not just for MCF, even for prestigious scholarships like the Chevenings and so forth. No, not really. You don't have to have perfect grades. They are a plus for sure, but your experience, your skills, and the way you write your essays is what matters most. So me, I'm going to tell you, just apply and make your case. Some people say, do I need to have work experience? No, at least for Mastercard Foundation, I know no. In fact, when I was in Ashesi, 10 of my classmates, actually engineering class, all applied and got into ASU when we were still in campus. We had not even finished our capstone project. So for Mastercard, at least that one I know, they don't, work experience is not mandatory. Some people think that I have to pick the same course I did in undergrad for my master's. This is across board, not just MCF. Not really. You just have to show your understanding of the program and how it fits in your future career aspirations in your essays, so that there is no confusion. And you also have to, in the interview, show that you're very sure about the decision you're making. That's it. It doesn't have to match. Like for me, I did engineering in undergrad. My work experience was in consulting and audit, and now I am in school doing technology, like studying a master's in technologies. So the three are not related. Okay, not that related, but still I got the scholarship, so they don't have to match. Yeah. And then some people think that you have to come from a really poor background. So somebody will look at their story and be like, both my parents are alive, my father has a job, my mother also has a job. Can I really apply? Yes, you can. For them, as I said, it's the investment. They're looking at the investment. If I let this person have this opportunity, will there be a return to the African community? So don't worry about that, because some people think that it's open for refugees or not. Of course, that will sell. I mean, they will be their priority, but where you come from does not matter. I've seen people write their essays and they're trying to defend themselves to show how, I cannot afford. No, don't, please, when you write your essays, put your background behind, and you just focus on showing what a good leader you are, what a good student you are, and that's it. Thinking it's too competitive to apply. Of course, scholarships are competitive to apply, but the only guarantee of not getting one is not applying at all. Thinking that, I can't apply from rural areas, that's not correct, because their target is, reaching talented kids from rural areas. So please just apply. That you must know someone from inside, that does not apply when it comes to scholarships. Let your story speak for itself. Here, I know when it comes to scholarship applications, especially for Mastercard, it's very fair. You don't need to know anyone. Number 8 is it has to be 100% scholarship. And I think this is something we can have a conversation about later. Some people get a scholarship, maybe not Mastercard, another scholarship somewhere, for instance, Canada, and it's only catering for tuition and books. And they give up and decline the offer. Whereas, depending on the country, you can actually make it. You just need to get yourself to the school. If you get yourself to the school, there are opportunities like student loans, student worker positions, where you'll be able to find money and pay for the other expenses that have not been covered in the scholarship. So don't be very quick to, do away with a scholarship that is not 100%. Try. If you see it's 75%, try. If you see it's covering 1 year, yet your program is 2 years, just try. Because once you get to the school, especially if it is a first world country, I'm going to speak for Canada and the US, there is always a way to figure it out. I know so many people who didn't get 100%. I know a friend who got 6 months, like a scholarship that was only covering 6 months in Canada, and still went. When she got there, when you're in school, there are so many other scholarships that are focusing on students that are available. You wouldn't get them if you're not in the school already. So, and she survived and made it through. Let's talk about this monster called self-disqualification. I'm going to ask you, has your fear been deciding for you so far? Most people qualify for opportunities, but in their mind they don't. They disqualify themselves and end up not trying. I've gone to a conference that was very competitive. The application was very competitive. And I got there and was surprised at the people I found there. They were not any different, to be honest. They didn't have magical things they have done before. They were just ordinary people. And I thought that if I didn't apply, if I didn't encourage myself and apply, I would have disqualified myself thinking that, this is an opportunity for extra brilliant people, extra people. No, you qualify, just try. And I usually say, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. So just try. Some of the things people disqualify themselves with is, number one, saying you're not good enough. You would never know until you apply. Just try. Thinking that, it's too close to the deadline. I used to tell myself that, but I've been disqualified for scholarship that I had 2 months to apply. And this one, I got it, yet I had like 2 weeks to apply for. So we're going to talk about how you can stay prepared so that even if you stumble upon a scholarship or an opportunity 2 weeks to the deadline, you still make it. You still be able to apply, staying prepared, yeah? People think that, I don't have enough leadership experience. No, not really. Use the little that you have, be creative about it, and make a story out of it. I'm not telling you to lie, but it's the way you explain your position. For example, for me, my essay on leadership, I spoke about being an ethics champion at PwC. Ethics champion, you cannot compare that to somebody who is running, a campaign back at home to help 1,000 farmers, learn how to use modern day farming, whatever. Or people who have worked with NGOs, or they have volunteered for over a year and so forth. The experience, when it comes to leadership, you might think that they have more points than you. And you look at your experience, you're like, I've never been a president in my school, a prefect anywhere. I've never ran any club or anything. I've not started any business. I've not been in any competitions and won. What am I going to say when it comes to the leadership essay? It's the small thing that you have done, that you be creative about it, talk about the lessons that you learned, and put it in an essay. I'm going to give an example. I have a friend who applied and got accepted for their leadership essay. They spoke about them running a small, what's it called? Like volunteering to be a supplier were goods in Nairobi because they graduated and didn't have a job. And without a job, they had to survive. So what they did is to volunteer first for somebody who sells goods, and then started getting a commission out of that, selling goods or supplying goods. Somebody will look at it and look like, even a side hustle, how is that leadership in any way? But it is in how you tell your story. Now she was able to explain it and say, I don't just sit down just because there is chaos in my country and there is unemployment. I am able to create employment for my own, and therefore I am a proactive leader. I find solutions to existing problems. And she won. So don't overthink that leadership thing. Of course, we will tell you guys to find things that can, support your leadership case. But if you don't have those big mega things, look at something that you have done that you are proud of, that was challenging, that you learned from, and tell a story out of it. Some people think I am not ready yet. You're waiting for the perfect time. That was me. As you've seen, there is an age gap, so you probably shouldn't wait that long. Also, there is no guarantee that this opportunity will be there next year. In Ashesi University, there used to be an opportunity called 3+1+1. It was an opportunity by Mastercard where you do 3 years at Ashesi University, and then the remaining 2 years you come and do them here at ESU. So you have an accelerated master's. So you're graduating after 5 years, but you are graduating with a degree and a master's degree as well. So that opportunity lasted for, I think, 3 years only. They took cohort 1, 2, and 3, and now it's gone. So if you were somebody saying, I'll wait until next year to apply, that opportunity no longer exists. Also, Mastercard, every year they renew their policies. Some years they onboard a new school, some years they drop an old school, okay? So don't just sit there and wait. Some of this funding is available only for a window of time. Some people get discouraged because the process is too complicated. Somebody who has applied for chevening or roads, they know. But you know what? Everybody else is thinking the same and everybody else is not applying. So whoever will get it is whoever will just go ahead with it and not be discouraged by how complex the process is. So just try. The good thing with Mastercard is I think it's the easiest scholarship to apply for, very straightforward. Just 3 essays and you're done. 2 recommendations and that's it, and you carry on with your life. No videos you're not required to do, I think, 4 or 5 interviews. No video submissions. No, you just do your essays, your recommendations, and that's it. Submitting documents and wait for an interview. But if a process seems too complicated, that means more people are getting discouraged. So that should be the opportunity that you go for. Okay, so to conclude here, don't count yourself out. Every winner once thought they weren't good enough, but they applied anyway. Scholarships are not looking for perfect people, but people who try. Applications aren't about proving perfection, they're about sharing your story. And someone will get the scholarship. Why can't it be you? Okay, some pointers for the application process. You can never be too early to start the process. I usually say by now you should have all your transcripts from your schools. If you don't, please get them as early as now. Don't try to chase them when the application opens. Find out who are your guys who can be writing recommendations for you. If you find a really good person you're close with, you can always be speaking with them and they'll just be tweaking the original recommendation that you had before. It's a good to have that kind of an established relationship with somebody so that every time there is an opportunity, you don't have to keep looking for contacts to some different people every time you're applying. So if you can form that connection with a mentor somewhere or with your former school professor and keep them as your friend, they'll be helping you with these things when applications come, the better. So start early. If application opens today, when do you start thinking of your essays? It should be today. I usually say once you stumble upon an opportunity, read through the entire document to understand what are your requirements and then sort them out. Which ones are easy, which ones require more time. So if you open it and realize they are asking for a recommendation specific from your school, then you have been out of school 5 years, 6 years. So that means that might take a lot of time for you to get it. So you prioritize the things that are going to take a lot of time. Start early, guys. The essays that are written when you have enough time are usually better because you took time to proofread them, to polish your story and so forth. Number 2, choose your school and the program wisely. I usually say you have one life, please don't mess it up. Just because an opportunity is being sponsored for does not mean you pick it. Please look out for what are your aspirations, what are your ambitions. Look at the environment and the market as it is. Pick something that is marketable, not just for employment, but something that, you know, I can make a living out of this. And then also when you're picking a program or a school, pick a program that relates to, you know, your passion. Otherwise, your essays will not be that good. I think you should also get a mentor or someone to, you know, to guide you through the process if you're stuck, especially when you're picking something that is not directly related to what you studied in undergrad. Schools are different. The experience you'll get if you're in Canada is going to be different from the experience you get when you're in UK. So think about your future, where you see yourself in the future, and choose wisely. That's why I'm saying conduct a research early. Go through all the schools, the programs, understand the institutions, what do they stand for, and so forth, and choose the one that you want. Because in your essays, they will also want to see you explain why are you picking this particular school. And watu hushikwa hapo because people just apply because it's there. or just because the school is abroad, you just apply. No, read about the school, know why are you interested in that school. Number 3, before you write your personal statement, read about the program from the school's website, research about the topic, aim to clearly demonstrate the following. I usually advise people that your personal statement is good if it can cover at least these 4 things. Yeah. 1, an understanding of that program and what it offers. I say that a degree in clean energy from ASU is different from a degree in clean energy from Carnegie Mellon. The title may seem the same, but the goals are different. So when you're writing your essay, make sure your aspiration matches the goals of that program. So it's important to just go to the website, Google that course in that school, download the handbook and read, so that even in your essays, you're able to tie it to what the program offers. Number 2, you need to demonstrate how the program will benefit your career aspirations. So if I'm studying global technology, how does that fit in my career aspirations? So I have to be very clear of my vision. Where do I want to be in the future? That picture has to be very clear so that I'm able to connect that with what I'm applying to study. Number 3, show your strengths. What are you bringing to the table? Some people forget about this and they keep talking about, the school is going to help me create network, I'll be able to do A, B, C, and D. But they're like, the question will be, why you? Why should we pick you? So talk about all the certifications you've done, all the exciting opportunities you've done. You should be able to summarize them. Your skills, if you have learned a new language, just sell yourself as much as possible. And then number 4, you need to show how you plan to use that opportunity in impacting change back to your community. How will this help back in Africa or back home, or help others, not just you? Talk about the relevant experiences and qualifications only, because you've got like 500 or 600 words to sell yourself, so use them wisely. I know we've lived life and we have done so many things, but if it's not really relevant to what you're applying, leave it out, because you're using space that you could use for explaining, how you're going to impact change in your community and so forth. So just stick to what is relevant, yeah? And even if it is only 2 things that are relevant, beef them up and let them sell you. And the reason why I'm saying this, write only what is relevant, because I almost made a mistake at some point. Can't remember what I was applying for. And I kept talking about things that are not relevant. And when I got to the interviewer told me, Helen, I think you may not be the person for this opportunity because you seem so interested in this other area. You seem so good and passionate in this other area. I'm not sure whether you're the right person for this opportunity. And there I could have, been dismissed because I kept talking about other things that are not relevant. That one can misguide people about what you're passionate about. So stick to the things that are relevant to the scholarship and to the program you're applying to. Put thought and effort towards your recommendation letters. Most people will submit a recommendation from their professor, which they have written 1 paragraph or just 2. And the first paragraph is just saying, oh, he knows you, you are here, you studied this degree. Please put that to your recommendation letter. The person who is writing it, they have to know you, show that they know you, they know your interest, they have to recommend you for this specific program, not just to say, we know her, she was here and she was very nice. No, they are recommending you for this program for these reasons. I usually say, write it yourself, do a draft, then give it to the recommender to add whatever they want and upload. Most of the time, the recommendations are going to be uploaded directly to the portal, to the school, or to the scholarship by the recommender. So don't accept a general recommendation letter, or, your friend went online and just picked a template there that have so many empty words. She's ambitious, she's inspirational, she's very good with people. Empty words. Let somebody talk about the program. Does Helen indeed have passion for technology? Have I seen her put effort into it. If she has done something, if the recommender wants to talk about how ambitious I am, they have to have actual examples. So if they are describing you and using very nice words, they have to have supporting evidence as to why. If your professor is saying she was very hardworking, it has to be supported with evidence, and probably say she was very hardworking, emerged top of my class in the last 2 years of her study here. You get, or she was very ambitious. She's the only one who got an opportunity to go represent our school outside the country. So recommendations are very important, because out of all the 6,000, I can tell you, 80% of the people are also getting them from, either their employer or their professor from school. You have to do something that will set you apart. Prepare for the interviews adequately. How do you prepare? You're going to do thorough research, not just about the scholarship, but the school you're applying to, the program. You should at least know who is the program director or the dean. Read about the things that they have done recently as a program. Talk to alumni. For instance, if you're coming to SU or you're trying to apply to SU, you can talk to somebody who is already here or somebody who was here before. If you're going to Cambridge, the same thing. It's good to find somebody who was there. You don't have to know them personally. If you go to LinkedIn, you can filter out somebody that probably, if you went to UON, filter out somebody from UON who went to Cambridge recently or graduated from Cambridge, and start a conversation. Shoot your shot and let them guide you and give you some pointers. And then again, practice commonly asked questions. Of course, you expect questions like, what are your strengths? Why have you picked this program? How do you see this program impacting your career, and so forth? Practice those questions, because sometimes you go into like, sometimes you need to tell a story. So it's good to prepare your stories and your answers, not to like cram them. No, you should be able to respond to those questions without cramming, but it's good to prepare adequately. Believe in yourself, because if you don't, no one else will. And pray, because sometimes it's just grace, to be honest. What do you do when there are no open applications? I'm telling you not to just wait. For example, most applications, I think they open between October going to February. I don't know, I'm not sure, but there are some seasons when it's just a slow season. There are no open opportunities. So what should you be doing with your time? Guys, go and obtain professional certifications. Get that CPA, get that ethical hacking thing, get that project management certification, even those ISO certifications. Sit for exams, GRE, GMAT, English test and exams. These ones are worthy investments. Especially the professional certifications, even if you don't end up getting the opportunity, they will help you still when you're in Nairobi or when you're back at home, they'll still help you. For the exams, if you're interested in some particular schools and some programs, especially the ones where you apply to the school first before you apply to the scholarship, read about those ones. Majority will require you to do GRE, GMAT, especially guys applying for MBAs and so forth. So I encourage you to don't wait until, there is an announcement that an application is opened, and that's when you want to figure out GMAT. Do it early, ifanye mapema. If you're applying for undergrad, there is something called SATs. Is it SAT? I think it's called SAT. You study and apply for it, get it early. I think it has an expiry window of probably 2 years or 5 years, I'm not sure, but just get these exams done early. Participate in community give back projects. This one will help you when it comes to the leadership essay. If you can get into a leadership position, even if you're the transport manager of that group, please be. It will help you with your leadership. If you can start a business, especially for guys who have finished school and they don't have a job yet, start a small business. For them, they don't care whether the business is working or it failed. It's how you explain that story. You can say, I started a business, it failed, and these are the lessons that I have learned, and it will still sell you. Do volunteer work here and there in organizations, cleanups, and so forth. You can attend conferences and seminars that are related to your field, and they don't have to be outside the country, guys. There's so many, especially those guys in tech. and I think engineering as well. So many of these things happen in Nairobi. So go and change your filters on X or Twitter, and you'll be able to get opportunities related to your area or your field and attend them. Then take free online courses. Oh, there's something I forgot to put here. Work on your LinkedIn profile. If you go to such a conference, it doesn't kill you. Just take a small picture, whether you're in it or not, and just do a small post there on LinkedIn and say, today we attended this seminar and this is the key lessons that we learned. Build your LinkedIn profile, because you're going to submit that link to when you're doing most of your applications. It's good to be seen as somebody who has something going on, they have something going on in their life. You can also take online free courses, Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, and so forth. Go for boot camps, research on opportunities when you have time. When there are no open applications, that's the time to network with alumni. Don't go contacting people when it is a week to the deadline. Talk to them mapema. Hey, I see you went to this school. In the future, I'm planning to also apply to A, B, C, and D. You have any pointers and so forth. Talk to them early, not when you are starting application, and then request for your transcripts and practice writing essays. My parting shot is I'm wishing you all the best, whatever it is you're applying for. I'm open for a conversation. These are my contact details. I think Steve will share with you. If you wanted to reach me in any way, you have any questions, if you wanted somebody to, discuss your idea of an essay, I can do that as well. If I cannot be of help, I think I know several people who have gotten scholarships, and I can connect you with somebody that can help you. So in case you're interested, you can take my contact details and reach out to me. I do wish you all the best, and I'm now opening the floor for questions. Thank you, guys.
Oh, that was a presentation and a half. Maybe you give a thumbs up if you're somewhere out there still listening. That was really great and comprehensive. When I first saw these slides made, I was like, wow, Ellen, you're taking this too personal. But again, I feel it speaks to how much people are concerned about how you should succeed. And if people are this much concerned, then you too should be very much concerned. Now, I also took some quick notes that I'm going to just briefly go through before we take some questions that we have in our we have some questions in our chat space. But before that, some things that are very much important that I noted and I've experienced them personally in my life is that this thing about thematic areas, that when you write, it says, speak to what interests you. Like, don't try to go for scholarship for the sake of scholarship. Because if it's not your area of interest, then most likely you don't have like a clear career path after school, and that is just going to be a waste of time. And then just to let you know too, Ellen said that is a holistic approach to recruitment. So never exclude yourself solely based on your story, based on your grades. It's holistic, like your story put together with your experience, put together with the recommendations. So even if you have bad scores, other things can save you somehow. And then to the bad scores, Helen spoke about professional certification. Maybe what we should be knowing, or what you need to know, is that professional certification and other pursuits will speak to your initiative, like the self-drive. Yeah, it will speak so much to your self-drive when the panel is now reviewing your application. And alongside that, in case you had some not so pleasant performance in your undergrad, then these ones are going to help you. For instance, let's say you do CPA and you become the top in financial and accounting, and maybe but towards the end in section 6, you've topped a section. That one can kind of save you if you are undergrad grades. Maybe you had a GPA of 3.3 or 3 point, and you are applying for something that is looking for a 3.5, then your other qualifications will help you. And to the last advice that I would give, Helen spoke about you taking time to write your essays and reflect, and she spoke that you should do that early enough because it gives you time to proofread and all that. Again, it gives you time to reflect on your stories because you only have 500 words. So if you're going to write early, you'll be able to summarize it. You'll be able to reflect on what's important, what's worth putting in the 500 words. And now, another thing that I've found very vital is AI. When you're writing your essays, AI, sometimes you may not want to get concerned about the word so much. First of all, someone advised that me elsewhere that first of all, put it together, your story, then try to see how you can cut some parts out and let some in to get to the word limit that you've been given. So that's where AI comes in. Lately, I've been doing a lot of my writings, and then I tell AI, would you kindly summarize this in 500 words? And it tells me, sure, in 1 second, I have my essay there. And then actually, you can even tell it that AI, can you please summarize this story in 500 words, taking care of the requirements for Arizona State University Masters of Global and Technology admission requirements. Then it searches the internet and then it gets the requirements for that scholarship. Then it tailors your story in a manner that will please the panel. So AI is a very handy tool. Just wanted to let you know that. And now to this extent, I think it would be just proper to get into the chat space and look at some of the questions you guys have. I see the first question we have is from Frederick Ochieng. So my great guy Ochieng here asks that he says, thank you, Helen. So I wanted to ask if Mastercard Foundation Scholarship also extend to online master's program of flexible learning opportunities, especially for young professionals who may want to balance work and study. And even before Helen responds, my answer to this is very big yes, because I know a friend of mine who is taking Mastercard with it's called Edinburgh or what, this university in the UK, and is doing it online. Anyway, Helen, what did you add to that?
Yes, it is actually. Me too. I know somebody, my classmate from Ashesi, who did an online course, a master's degree from Edinburgh, and he was also able to go for a second one, an in-person one in Carnegie. So he was finishing his online one when he is in his second one at Carnegie Mellon, an in-person one. So yes, for Mastercard, I think Edinburgh and so many other schools in Africa, they are being offered in virtual. So just research about it, read about them, you find them. They exist.
Okay, yes, thank you for that. So, and then we have this friend here called Mercy. She asks, she's very much thankful for the insights, and she's asking that she's currently in 4.2. She only has transcript first to third year, and 4.1 transcript may not be available before the deadline for ASU application. So, should she still proceed to apply? Then she says that her degree will be conferred before July 26, 2026. So what would you advise on this?
Will you have graduated by the time the semester begins? But because the school, people travel to school the last week of July or first week of August. So will you have graduated by July? If the answer is yes, then you can go ahead and submit that transcript. And if you need, we can also, if you're applying to ASU and if you need contact to the people there, I can also give you the contact so you write directly to them explaining your situation. So if you're going to have graduated by July with your degree in your hands, then okay, you can apply.
For which you speak about July this year, right? Not 2026.
2026, because July this year has already passed.
Oh, sorry. I'm living in another world. Anyway, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's yeah. So
Yeah.
August. You say you report in August, right?
Yep. If you're going to school, if you're taking fall semester, is it spring or fall semester, then you have
Okay.
to make sure that you've done, if it is a fall semester, it begins in August. So we
Okay.
travel 1 month before school begins, which is July. So if you'll have graduated by July or by end of July, then you
Yeah.
can apply. Yeah.
That's really great. And I see the same Marcy kind of could be having a question that she wants to ask. You can unmute Marcy and ask in case you want to.
Hello, hi. So I wanted to confirm that I'll have graduated by July next year because our graduation is usually in June, and then I'll also be finishing my coursework in December. Yeah, so I'll have done my coursework and even graduation before July next year.
Okay, that's
That's
great. I see.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
Okay,
in
perfect.
your
thank you.
personal statement essay, Mercy, in your personal statement essay, your opening liner can be, "My name is Mercy from Nairobi, and I'll be graduating with a degree in special engineering in June 2026." Let that be the first sentence.
Okay, thank you. I'll reach out to you on WhatsApp.
Perfect.
Yes. So, and then, okay, Mercy was asking what you're pursuing. Maybe let me have the privilege of saying that this is a seasoned student of Masters in Global Technology, Masters of Science, right? Yes, that's what
Yes,
Helen,
correct.
that's what
Yes,
Helen
it
is
is.
doing.
I'm looking at global technology and innovation.
Yes. And well, now to the last question you have in the chat space. Is it advisable to go directly for Masters of Undergrad Studies, or should one first consider getting a little bit of experience? Well, now, Vari is here. I will speak to business schools. Then Helena will speak about these science things. For business school, kind of experience is necessary. I've looked at a lot of good schools. They look for at least 2 years of experience. So if you're going to business school, some experience matters. Some years of experience matters. Well, Helen, what did you say for sciences like Mastercard that you're currently on?
Let me be honest. It depends on you as a person. You don't want to come and waste an investment doing something that you will have a hard time practicing. So if you want to go straight from school into the graduate school, ask yourself, how sure are you about the course you want to study? And are you indeed passionate about it? Is it something that is still relevant in the market? And when you ask, even hata kama ni ChatGPT, find out the trend for the course you want to study in the next 5 years. Where will it be? So that you're sure. If you're sure, you can proceed. Because one thing I've realized is that, especially for friends who did the 3+1+1, I said my classmates were like 10 guys who came to study here. Majority of them are very disgruntled about what they are doing. They think and they wish they did something else different when it came to masters. So if you're sure you can go straight, it doesn't matter. If you're sure you can go straight into grad school when you finish undergrad, but if you're not very sure about the program, then I would encourage you to do a bit of work experience to understand, to know yourself better, to understand whether this is really what you want to do long term, because the chances are very rare that you will get a scholarship for one master's and another scholarship for a second master. Those ones are very rare. And also time, you probably may not have enough time to go back to school. So ask yourself, that's an internal question you need to ask yourself. Do I really want to do this? Am I sure about this? Yeah.
Yes. Well, much elaborated. Yeah. So thanks. So that depends, like Helen says, if you want to, if you can go to the field and get experience, maybe that will help to let you know what you want long term. Now, to a question here by big man Benson Mueva, he's asking how in the big four scenario, how did you manage to retain your job while studying masters abroad at the same time? So this one, the Benson, I can respond to this that there is something called sabbatical leave in the big four. I know Benson is with KPMG now. The study leave allows you, I mean, the sabbatical leave allows you to take time off. For instance, if you're tired and you feel like the audit has burnt you down, you need to rest and refresh, you can take it. It's a maximum of 2 years. And in the case of studies too, it's applicable. Actually, I'm also on one. So you can enjoy that, but make sure you are in good books with your bosses, your directors, your managers, because in as much as you can be granted that, sometimes coming back may not be easy because economic times, the economic situations in at your place of employment might have changed, and they don't need you anymore. If you are not in good books with them and it was just a sabbatical leave for the sake of a sabbatical leave, then they'll easily turn you away and tell you that they no longer have a space. And yeah, that will be the end. So that's it. And someone else kindly share your contact information for one-on-one people guide. This person is very serious. That's Emmanuel Wakaba. So Helen, we are going to drop Helen's contacts here. Furthermore, you can find Helen very easily because she's going to be our very, very proper mentor on Daring Distant Dreams. So if you go to Daring Distant Dreams platform, you'll just look for the admins and then you'll be seeing Helen there. I don't know whether she has a name to her contact WhatsApp profile, but then you can always chat those admins and tell them what you want and they'll guide you around or refer you to the right person. So that's it. Maybe I can just drop the link to our WhatsApp space where you're going to find these mentors in the form of admins. Let me just drop it. Maybe any last question? Yeah, Helen too is also flashing the
Steve, I
last
think
slide.
guys can, yeah, they
Yeah,
can take a screenshot of that as well.
yeah, that helps. That helps. So yeah, and then I think I'll also generate a summary of this talk today. I'll ask AI, my friend AI, to give me a summary of the talk today, and then I'll share it with you. So maybe let me see if I can get links here quickly and give you before we part. Mm, mhm. Yes, Helen, you said give back. So give back ni muhimu sana because you want to speak about something that you actually did. You don't want to make your recommend a liar. Yeah. So from now henceforth, those who are planning to apply for the Mastercard scholarship, find time to give back so that your stories are factual. They don't have to be fabricated. Anyway, I've dropped the link there. So that's the link to our platform. The next talk that we're going to have is going to be about partial scholarships. How you can use that if you don't, if okay, Helen has talked about you not excluding yourself. So if you're the kind of person who still doubts after Helen has warned you, then now partial scholarships is another option. They are very, very much easy to get. And sometimes when you get them, like I have a friend who got them to the US, who got one to the US. She came here in 6 months. She had made some good amount of money and she managed to fund the rest of her studies smoothly as we speak. 1 year down the line, she's now employed in the US. She took a sabbatical leave in Kenya. She's now not planning to go back because things worked out pretty fine. That is our next speaker in maybe 3 weeks from now, but the banner will be out very soon. So see you when that talk comes. To this extent, Ellen, thank you for creating time. I think if there is nothing to discuss, we can call it a day. So thank you so much for creating time. And I wish you all the best at Daring Distant Dreams. We say thank you. Bye.